Welcome to Voices in the Wilderness. My name is Pastor Lorraine Bouffard. I am the Bishop of the Diocese of Connecticut for the American Ecumenical Catholic Church. My guests today are Rabbi Stephen Fuchs of Congregation Beth Israel. Welcome, Rabbi.
Thank you.
And one of my co-workers, Father Mike Donnelly, who works in nursing home situations and with the mentally ill. Let me ask, have you ever wanted to be better able to communicate with more empathy with your family, friends, co-workers, or congregants? Has your advice ever been unproductive? I know parents of teenagers feel that way. Are there times when you don't know how to respond effectively and productively to those in need of a shoulder? Today we're going to talk about compassionate listening. And Rabbi Fuchs, each year you do a wonderful thing by inviting local clergy to to Congregation Beth Israel and always offer a wonderful program of some sorts or another. And this year you brought this person called Rabbi Uzi Weingarten. How did you meet him, and what was the impetus for your having him come?
In the spring of 2005, I attended a 2.5-day seminar at a convent in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, that he was running. He had a very good reputation for teaching good listening skills, and I thought that this would be a good opportunity. And so I had never been to Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I never spent time in a convent before, but those 2.5 days were so rich and so meaningful that at that time the idea began to grow in my mind that I would love to bring him to our community as a gift to the people of this area, to clergy, to my congregants, to the public. And so in partnership with St. Francis Hospital, Sister Judy Carey, the Vice President of Mission Integration there, and I worked out a way. I recommended him to her, and together we put together this weekend where he taught at the hospital on Thursday and Friday, came to our synagogue Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Monday we had this wonderful program for clergy. Almost snowed out, but we decided to go ahead with it, delay it a little bit, and I'm glad that we did.
I'm glad you did too. I would imagine it went over very well with people in the health professions. But as I said before, we all need to know how to be there for people when they are emotionally wrapped up into something. Mike, you went to the one over on Sunday at Congregation Beth Israel. What word was something that you came out with that he said you had to do more than anything?
HUA. HUA is an acronym for hearing, understanding, and acknowledging.
Uh-huh.
People often do not need a teacher or a guide. People need often just another human being to be there, to listen. Perhaps the greatest compliment you can give another person is to care enough to listen. And that's often what people really, really need.
Well, Rabbi, what usually gets in the way of us being, because this is what empathy is,
Sure.
is being compassionate and knowing that you're there for the other person. In addition to having good body language, like I learned, for example, that when you're listening, you really should be looking directly at the person, and so that they know you're talking to them. Sometimes I have an eye that wanders, so it goes elsewhere. But what would you say are some of the mistakes that we make when we should be listening?
I think the most important mistake that we make is rushing to offer advice. Sometimes, as I think Mike's answer hinted, we're under the illusion that people are coming to us seeking to solve their problems. They may think that they are, but more often than not, they really need to be heard and encouraged to tell their story. One of the great things I think that Uzi did for us was to put a little diagram of an iceberg. And when people come into us, if we interrupt them with our advice, our questions, our own experiences too quickly, we only get to the tip of the iceberg. On the other hand, if by the technique which he referred to as tracking, making statements that encourage the person to go on with their story, we can get deeper and deeper into what it is that is bothering them. And the gift, as Mike, I think, so correctly pointed out, is allowing people to tell their stories.
Now, you used an interesting word called tracking. What does that mean, tracking?
Tracking means that as I'm listening, I'm offering little sentence stems or short statements that encourage you to feel that I'm listening, I'm understanding, I'm acknowledging that acronym HUA, HUA, that Mike referred to, and therefore you feel empowered and encouraged to go on, and you're able to communicate on a deeper level because you know that I'm understanding what you're saying.
In other words, the tracking only comes when the person seems to be stuck.
Well, tracking is a comprehensive technique. I think, as you said before, looking at you, making it clear to you that I'm not doing anything except responding to you, I'm with you. That's part of it. I think that when a person stops, part of tracking is not rushing to fill that silence. I think we clergy often think silence is some sort of curse that we have to banish with the sonorous tones of our voices, and we have to fill that void. Often that silence allows the person to keep percolating his or her thoughts, and then we can respond on a much better level when they've had a chance to express them. So part of tracking is when they've stopped and to offer that encouragement, but part of it is sometimes just empathetically being with them, being silent, letting them go on until we're sure they've told us whatever they want to tell us. One of the great insights that Uzi gave us, I thought, was that the last thing a person says before they come to a pause is really what they are most concerned about. They may start at a certain place, and if we interrupt them right away, we'll deal with that surface issue, but they'll never have a chance to get to the deep issue that's really at the heart and soul of their coming to see us.
Okay, now let me see. One of my problems when I do, when I'm trying to listen to somebody, is my feeling was that, I want to be empathetic. So I'm going to tell, I know all about that, because, and then I start telling my story,
right,
which is the autobiographical response. And I do that so people, I thought I was doing this so people would know, she's just as human as I am, and make them feel comfortable. But actually when they're stopping, so let's say they say, at that point, I just felt scared, and they stop. So you would pick up on what word?
Well, the word, of course, scared. Now, I would want to wait to see if they were going to tell me more if they didn't get a verbal response from me. If they didn't, I would probably prompt with, "You're frightened." And hopefully that would trigger further response. Now, the good thing about this tracking business is you don't have to be right. Let's say I say,